Hi guys, this is Breaker, and I'm back with another replay I took from the Stars War League. Oops, sorry about that. Had to alt-tab and make sure XSplit was on the right window. But in the lower right-hand corner, spawning as our blue Protoss. Currently the strongest player in all of China. His name is Invictus Gaming's Jim. But his in-game tag here shows up as Spirit Jazz. And in the lower left-hand corner, GSL champion for WCS Korea Season 2. Maru Prime. I should have just called him the WCS Korea Champion Season 2, but for Season 2, but I guess that's all irrelevant at this point. Talking about both players' performance, well, Jim, he is the first 17-year-old to really go pro in China and actually go abroad to compete. I am, of course, talking about the WCS NA Premier League Finals, where he had some pretty okay performance, and he made it to the WCS Season 2 Grand Finals, but unfortunately he couldn't attend due to visa issues. In Control, DJ Wheat, and the rest of the EG guys were joking about it on one episode of Inside the Game, but honestly, Maru Prime, I'm not too surprised that he actually won the WCS Korea Season 2, because he was also the champion of another tournament that I casted for about a year ago, known as the Asia StarCraft League, hosted by Taiwan. He basically capitalized on 2-raxing all of his Zerg opponents, and he did come across one player who actually figured out what he liked to do against his Zerg opponents, and that player was Yo, I am Jojo. Jojo basically crafted a build that was meant specifically to kill someone who's going with a double proxy rax, an SCV train, if that makes sense. But Game 2 and Game 3 both went to Maru. Because of course we saw Jojo going with the same opener again and again, thinking that he was going to see Maru Prime do the same opener again and again. Kind of some flawed logic, but you know, he went at it blind the entire game, so yeah. And once you put a pool down that early, you really got no way to recover from it. But Jim's major accomplishments aside from that, he first gained repute by all-killing EG in the Acer Team Story Cup, and everyone's like, wait a minute, we want to see Jim Credible compete more. And the way Jim got into Invictus Gaming was actually kind of unique. He originally belonged to Tyloo Gaming less than a year ago, at the end of the Neo TV Star League that I was casting for with an observer position for the most part, until the finals when I was causing too much lag. Moved to a new place. Fiber optic internet, it just hated the China server, and I just couldn't odds it. It made me sad. But Jim finished in that tournament in the top 8. He lost to MVP Lure in a best of 5 series. The end score was 3-2. But back then, Protoss was a completely different race to play, and I'm very eager to show you guys just what Jim has to offer in this game. And likewise, what Maru has to offer as well. So I'm hoping you guys are sitting back with a can of beer or a bag of popcorn and ready to enjoy the show. But Jim comes in so far and he sees that Maru's going for basically a double Rax Expo after, well, excuse me, a double command center followed up with a double Rax. Invictus Gaming's XY also likes to do this, but I think Maru Prime really has it refined to an art. And this is kind of strange. There's no bunker going down on the high ground here at the natural, but we do have more and more Marines out on the way and a 3rd command center. So this is, you know, this game, just looking at it, we can get the feeling that this is gonna last at least 9 minutes. We're gonna say that much right now. And Jim throwing down a Twilight Council in his main. As you can see, that would be indicative of one of two things. He could be going for Twilight Council, Blink Stalker, forward pressure, all in, whatever have you. But it also gives the remote possibility of a Dark Shrine coming in, and I'm very inclined to say so now with the robotics facility in play, because in the Terran versus Protoss matchup, there's at least on this map, there's a lot of room for drop play. There really is. When there's no Zerg player coming into play, that means there's no Overlords out in the middle of the sky here, which means that Terran or Protoss has so much more free vision to give. Double Assimilator's already going down at the natural, but Maru Prime's marching in with 5 Marines, and there's nothing here! There's just a Stalker and a Mothership Core on the high ground, and the Marines, they're not even remotely concerned with that. They're just gonna go straight for the probe line, targeting them down one by one. No Nexus Cannon, not even enough energy for it. And it looks like, oh man, the Marines are just targeting down that last probe. And with that, he gets away with 6 kills. So Maru, he's giving himself a secure lead with this, and even more so with that 3rd orbital command on the way. And there it is, the definitive bio transition. In case 2 barracks and stim pack and research was not enough information for you guys, it is going to be a bio play. But the Dark Shrine is now about 35 seconds away from finishing up. And Warp Gate Tech, whoa, Warp Gate Tech, just 1 Warp Gate so far. Second one here as well. And, oh, wait, a scan goes out by Maru, but he misses the most critical information. Look at this. He doesn't have vision of that Dark Shrine. I think he saw the Warp Prism slipping out, and Jim is getting basically to, I guess you could say, the location of a potential 4th base right here. And the SCV is going out to try and scout for 3rd, see where it could be, making sure that there's actually, I guess if he sends out in this direction, making sure that there's no hidden expos going down, and only 1 DT going down. I think Jim may feel a little bit uneasy since his Warp Prism slipping out was basically scouted. But the SCV did get enough range there to, I think, see if there was going to be a Nexus or not. And he sees now that there's no 3rd. The SCV's under attack. That makes 2 kills so far, 3, excuse me. And Maru's going to come in, excuse me, you know, Jim's going to come in here and he's going to start targeting down what? SCVs, and that seems to be it. He took a couple of swipes at that engineering bay, but that's about it. And, oh wait, we got enough energy for a scan now, so that means this is going to be cleaned up just a teeny bit. But Jim is really ultra persistent with these DT plays, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him do another one. It looks like this one went to the front lines where there's already a missile turret and a bunker waiting for him. So he's not going to try going in directly in that direction. But there's still the potential to do damage with this. There is. Meanwhile, back at home, Jim is getting ready for a transition. Ooh, and the mothership, or excuse me, not mothership. The Warp Prism is actually taking a bit of C-14 Gauss rifle fire. And more gateways on the way. Blink on the way as well. And Jim is doing something that I feel this could be a bit of a dangerous choice. I mean, he did some damage with the DTs, but he didn't do enough. He forced scans from his opponent. Yeah, the mothership, jeez, mothership core. What is wrong with me? The Warp Prism. Let's just say the mothership of damage, if you will, in this instance. I mean, and speaking of, he just hasn't really done enough. When your opponent has triple orbital command, yeah, forcing 1 or 2 scans is good, but you need to really be forcing them from your opponent left and right, left and right, left and right. Jim did this versus his teammate Invictus Gaming's XY at the CPL Shenyang, which there was no English stream available for. And now it looks like that Warp Prism having been shut down, the DT manages to slip out, and it's going to make its way to this, what would potentially be the 3rd here in just a few moments. This is an interesting move by Maru. He moves away almost immediately. He can see some kind of a blur there. In fact, wow, he wasn't even notified. That DT didn't even move, and he just saw it on his screen. I'm thinking to myself, that's got to be like an amazing monitor, an ultra amazing monitor he's using. And that forces yet another scan. Pylon going down on the high ground as well. Perhaps we're going to see Jim try and force more scans out of his opponent, which is going to mean less mules in the future. And to this point, Jim, I don't know. Like, he really hasn't done the damage that he needs to do with those DTs. It would have been great if he could have gotten maybe 10, 11, 12. I want to say 15 would have been the minimum, and this was a ping-in game that the Taiwan competitor or Taiwan casters were doing, and that kind of basically annoyed me to a little fair amount. But wait, whoa. Jim almost got a mothership, or almost got a medevac there. Wow. Does everything that flies from now on, I'm gonna call it a mothership of Marines. Basically took a good deal of damage there. Jim forces his opponent to move that orbital command to his natural. SCV is coming off the line. Now only 8. Oh, wait, the 3rd here. Oh, man. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Jim looks like he's about to lose his 3rd. The Marines and Marauders are targeting down. Meanwhile, he's just going to go to town on the natural of Maru Prime, who's now looking like he's in an extremely bitter position. No force fields left on these sentries whatsoever. The Stalkers blinking forward to take down those Vikings really early. Jim had this engineered perfectly almost, and now he's got a huge window of opportunity to do damage. Look at the army supply difference right now. Sure, there's some left in the mix, but it's all over here at the natural, and the probes are just getting absolutely massacred. Both players sustaining a good deal of damage to each other's economy. Colossus pops out and immediately gets sniped by all the bio on the ground. These Zub's going to come in and try and deal with that. And the Colossi are working their way into the main, but oh, the SCVs have been pulled. Oh, and 2 Vikings just popped out of the starport. This is a tarp. This is an epic tarp laid down by Maru Prime, who's now taken down both of the Colossi, and just Stalkers versus this many Marauders is going to result in colossal damage to the army of Jim. Now only 5 Stalkers in a forward position to do damage, and now the probes. I don't know how to place it. Jim's got a higher number of worker kills in this game. He's borderline ahead of his opponent in income. But the third orbital command is still alive from Maru Prime. That's going to make such a huge difference in getting mules into the game. And now Jim is down by about 12 supply overall. And really far behind in terms of army supply. Just Blink Stalkers here is not going to cut it. And he just throws out the GG. And that made perfect sense to me, I guess you could say. I mean, yeah, he had a higher worker count just now. He didn't have superior income, though. And that's because, of course, Maru's power of the mule had been stretched. And overall, I think this was a respectable decision by Jim. I mean, you know, geez. You know, this drop over here and there was nothing to defend. It looked like there was a short window of opportunity where Jim could have ended the game. It's just that he would have had to go into his opponent's main at a different position. He walked right by that starport. Everything that he had got targeted down, and that was the most critical turning point in all of this. I think if he could have caught all the bio as it was coming out of the barracks, he might have been in a better position. But it was really iffy. There weren't enough zealots to tank. But if you guys like what you saw here today, please tune into tonight's SWL, where we will have Maru Prime going up against Moonglade and VG Com, the WCS 2012 China champion. I'll be seeing you guys later. This is Breaker.